What you're seeing here is how water and frequency affect plant growth, but I think I can show you how these affect it too. Matter of fact, they might even be the tool that created all the biodiversity in the Americas. If you think this is crazy, I don't care. If you missed the first one, I showed you how this pyramid is the physical representation of the Fourier series. When you clap in front of the pyramid, it creates this noise, which is a sine wave being converted to a square wave. That's the Fourier series. Then I recreated it using a synthesizer. Then I used a cymatic pattern simulator to match the frequency to Chichen Itza. By pitching the sound up the same number of steps as the pyramid, I got it to chirp. The pattern that the chirp frequency makes is the same pattern that you see in Chichen Itza from the sky. Now, I lost a few people on the purpose for doing this in the first place, and that's biology, because biology is binary. Cells like bacteria divide, they follow a pattern. 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 4, 4 goes to 8, split, and then don't split. That's the binary sequence, and using Pascal's triangle, we can calculate how many cells there are by counting the rows in that triangle. By following this simple process, the triangle becomes the tool, but it gets so much deeper than just counting the cells. If you continue that pattern out, it creates the Sierpinski triangle. It is some math magic that also holds the biological code for proportion. If you count the numbers diagonally, it gives you the Fibonacci sequence. Fibonacci sequence bridges the square binary with the sine curve. It does this proportionally at any scale. Split the cells, put them into a proportional form. This is the key of the triangle in general. See step pyramids in the Yucatan, in the Amazon, and the Pacific Islands, all agriculturally dense regions. At the spring equinox, a shadow is created, indicating Kukulkan returning to the earth. Vibration and life-giving currents is the definition for the feathered serpent in the Mayan tradition, as well as the traditions of the Pacific Islands. A prism, another triangle, will break light up into feathers or bands of colors, where certain bands of light trigger switches in plants to start growing at specific times. That's pretty well known, that's pretty studied, so how are we achieving better results with a pyramid? Well, we're gonna have to borrow some research from its bigger brother, the Great Pyramid in Egypt, which this now famous study has proved it can focus electromagnetic energy into the ground at its base. Mechanism for this could be the constant vibration from the Earth to the ionosphere called the Schumann resonance, often called the heartbeat of the Earth. In the Popol Vuh, the Mayans explicitly state that Kukulkan worked with the heart of the sky to create the Earth. To fully break this down, we're going to have to borrow some research from our science friends and use some cymatic geometry to kind of piece together what I'm calling temple tech. But that will be a part 3. I think the ancients encoded their science into architecture. They understood the forms and patterns of reality so well, they created a population of geniuses with hundreds of examples from around the world to prove it.